Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Serious Sunday. I am Luke, and this is the show where I talk about video games and stuff. It's another lovely end of summer, maybe beginning of autumn kind of evening today. I just got back from playing Dungeons and Dragons with some friends, and we had a damn good time. Matt was there, John was there, the whole crew was there, and a couple of other friends as well. Love to see if we could someday do something with that whole group for the show, but that's neither here nor there. Today, I had some more, interestingly enough, space video game and is it malicious or not type news today. So I recently read, as of sometime mid this week, a article that was written on Kotaku about the development of good old Star Citizen. One hell of a project. If nothing else, Star Citizen tells us that people are definitely still interested in space games. No Man's Sky obviously did fairly well financially, and Elite Dangerous, a project near and dear to my heart, of course, also did quite well. So we were definitely in the middle of sort of a space game renaissance, which is a beautiful thing in my mind. But the big question on everybody's minds is what the hell is happening with poor Star Citizen? The game was supposed to have launched ages ago at this point, right? And where is it? And what happened with the 124 million or whatever the count is up to now dollars with the game? And so somebody at Kotaku decided to do sort of an in-depth analysis of where all of the money went, or just what happened with all of the development process. And it was a fantastic and very fascinating read. A lot of it was kind of compiled from hearsay and from sources that are unconfirmed just by merit of it being sort of NDA type area. Employees that previously worked for Cloud Imperium games, or were contracted with Cloud Imperium, or maybe just people who are talking out of their asses. Who honestly knows? It's one of the problems with this kind of a report, because you just honestly don't know how much of it is true and how much of it isn't. Not that I'm necessarily contradicting it. There's no reason in my mind to say that anything that I read in the report was not true. And if you're interested, it's a very long read. Like, make yourself a sandwich and a cup of coffee for reading this one. It's got a lot of information. There's a lot of history in there, and it's worth your time if you're interested in Star Citizen and seeing what's been going on with it and reading a little bit about the controversy and everything about that. But, honestly, it's robust. But what it basically boils down to is Star Citizen's current state of, it's still not done yet, seems to be, after all is said and done, a matter of just unmanageable scope and some problems with project management, insofar as, according to some of the sources in this report, a lack thereof. Which isn't to say that there was nobody producing or nobody project managing the project. Apparently they were pretty good at setting their milestones and shit. It's just this game. Oh man, this game. If you watch my Thursdevs, you may or may not have run into the episode that I do on feature creep. Star Citizen is a case study in a game that suffers from terminal feature creep issues. Apparently, it started out as a $500,000 project that was supposed to be sort of a spiritual sequel to Wing Commander, created by the creator himself, Mr. Chris Roberts. And people loved that idea so much that they started throwing piles and piles of money at this project. So in order to kind of appease people and say, oh, well, please give us more piles of money, Cloud Imperium decided that they would add more and more features, and it also kind of ran into sort of some of the problems where Chris Roberts was kind of unchecked in the things that he was over-promising in some cases, quite possibly. Although, since the game is not done yet in any stretch of the imagination, time is yet to say whether he's over-promising and under-delivering or not. But if the recent fiascos surrounding No Man's Sky are anything to be sort of used as a benchmark, there is absolutely no way that Chris Roberts is going to come out of this unscathed in any way. As sad as that really is to say, like, it's going to be nigh unto impossible for him to deliver on absolutely everything that was said, and people are going to pick apart this game with a fine-tooth comb as soon as it does eventually come out, whenever that may be. And people are going to have some complaints about it. Aside from the very valid complaint that, holy shit, this game is turning into vaporware. Like, at least there's playable parts. I mean, you're seeing footage here of me playing the game. I invested in Star Citizen way back in the day, and I got myself a freelancer, and yay, and everything was kind of cool, and it was very exciting right when it started and when the hangar module came out, and I wanted to see my ship, and it took a while for the freelancer to become available, and a couple of my friends also got into it, and some of my friends at Frontier, because I was working at Frontier at the time, started a little clan in Star Citizen. I don't even remember what we were called. I guess I'm theoretically still a member of it. I could just check the website right now, but I won't because I'm lazy. And yeah, so like, this is a game that has drummed up a whole lot of excitement, and it deserves it. Like, the game looks fantastic. They have definitely set a very high bar for quality. And despite the fact that apparently in many ways they decided not really to make full use of the engine, which is to say that kind of ultimately what happened with Star Citizen is that they decided to just kind of take the rendering engine and kind of scrap most of the rest of it and build an engine around Crytek's rendering technology, which is absolutely valid. It looks beautiful. Anyway, just so much underutilization of tech and having to rewrite a few things and not building an engine from scratch when that ultimately meant that there was just way too many things in the back end that needed to be kind of stripped out or rewritten or redone, or things that existed but they couldn't really use. So many problems inherent with just using an existing engine when you want to do such a very specific thing with them, that ultimately, like, they just had to throw a lot of things out, or not necessarily throw them out, but just couldn't really use them quite the way that they wanted to. And, c'est la vie. There's not a whole lot that you can really do about that. But anyway, So, this game just suffered from some terrible, terrible feature creep, apparently, with stretch goals continuously being added. And I bet that there was a lot of pressure on them to kind of go, oh shit, we are now like up at the highest funded game in history, especially from like crowdfunding. This game blows every other crowdfunded project ever out of the water, and will continue to do so for probably ever. Especially if things don't go well with Star Citizen, it could well end up being a cautionary tale. I have no idea. There's just so few points of reference. There's so few data points that you can use to get a good idea of what is happening with this project and what, where it's going. But it is an interesting sort of study in some decisions that were made with the best intentions in mind, like releasing all of these individual modules, but at the same time knowing that these modules are not really a component of the finished game. They're kind of standalone things that are mostly being just given to the players to kind of sate themselves while they wait for this game to inevitably come. But, that's is just sort of a part of the ultimate sort of process of making this game, but it is detracting at the same time from their development process. That said, it helps to sort of, in a weird way, contribute to transparency, although honestly the project has been very opaque from the very beginning, and it's not a whole lot we can do about that. But so these modules that are contributing to the slowness of the project, even though it's at least helping keep people's interest up, and just difficulty really kind of defining what is going to happen and when, and of course the unpredictability of code in general. Anybody who's worked in software knows that a programmer's best guess for how long something is going to take is rarely going to be fully accurate, just because it's so hard to anticipate how long it's going to take to accomplish certain things, and whether certain things are even accomplishable in the first place. Oh man, yeah. So video games, man, and software in general, very, very heavy duty stuff. And anyway, so I digress. I've been sort of rambling. Star Citizen. I'm getting interested again, I guess, but at the same time, it still feels like it's so far away, right? Like, as somebody who's done development and who has done like things like, trade show demos and stuff like that, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, right? And it's hard to say whether the final project is anywhere near done or like super far from done at this point. Only really the people at Cloud Imperium know the answer to that. But there's always going to be haters, right? And who knows, maybe they're justified. I honestly have no idea. And I think that we should take everything that, we read that's hearsay or unconfirmed things with sort of a grain of salt. I in no way want to see this project fail. It looks fantastic. It's a great addition to the space game renaissance that we're seeing right now that I talked about at the very beginning, and that's exciting to me as somebody who loves space games and bought a HOTAS to play Elite Dangerous with, So, and I'll eventually have some sort of VR gear when I have a lot of disposable income. Who knows when that's going to be? It's interesting. I really hope that the project does well. Right now, it looks like it's pretty rocky. Read the report for yourself, or read one of the synopses, because some sites did the work for you and have sort of a Cliff's Note version that you can read. But ultimately, it's still worth watching, and it's a good idea to kind of, be skeptical. Healthy skepticism is not a bad thing. Let's not declare a project dead before it's before it's alive. But let's not give this game any Game of the Year awards until it's in our hands, right? So I don't know. I don't know if I really had a point with this one. It interests me very much. I hope that the project in general is interesting to you. If it's not, then, maybe this episode of Serious Sunday wasn't very interesting to you. I apologize for that. But there you go. I talk about things that interest me. So, yay. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, as always. I do appreciate each and every one of you that come by. And I hope that I will see all of you again very soon. It's a pleasure, as always. Take care of yourselves. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.